Okay, what do I gotta do? It's time to put on makeup. Alright. It's time to light the lights. You know, in retrospect, I probably should have put on makeup after the lights were turned on. Anyway, it's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight. This is Toon'd In, where I, Josh the Fox Mills, review cartoons. No matter how new, no matter how old, no matter the cost. This week, I'm going to take a look at Jim Henson's Muppet Show. Yes, there will be Muppets. Yeah! Yeah! No, stop. I said Muppets, not puppets. What's the difference? Muppets are owned by the Jim Henson Company. Stay tuned. Review? I didn't want to view it the first time! Ah, ha, ha, ha. History about Jim Henson and his Muppets to start us off. The Jim Henson Company started in 1958. Jim, along with his wife Jane, made small local puppet shows while constantly trying to pitch larger shows to networks. The Muppet Show was rejected in the United States, but it was noticed and picked up by British programmers. It took off in the United Kingdom, and after 5 seasons of success and 120 episodes, it was brought back. The show ran from 1976 to 1981 and had a vaudeville or music hall style song and dance variety show. It also showed glimpses of behind-the-scene moments that would be expected from such a show. The show was known for outrageous physical slapstick, sometimes absurdist comedy, and humorous parodies. Every episode had a live-action guest star, and as the showrunner, Kermit the Frog had to keep control of the show backstage as well as keeping those guests happy. Many of the puppeteers who worked on the Muppet Show also worked on Sesame Street, which is hardly a surprise since they were both created by Jim Henson. I can't really review Sesame Street, as it's still going after all this time. The Muppet Show theme song was written by Sam Pottle and is an unforgettable aspect of the franchise.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started.
Please let them be funny this once. It's time to get things started on the most
sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational. This is what we call the Muppet Show.
The cast of the Muppet Show were rich and varied. Kermit the Frog, the straight man protagonist of the series. This pragmatic frog led the Muppets ensemble and was responsible for managing the show's production. Miss Piggy, the real superstar of the show. Piggy can be a bit of a diva. She had been Kermit's significant other until just recently in 2015. Fozzie Bear, a sweetly insecure and terrible comedian who is so bad at telling jokes he can't afford good joke writers. Gonzo, a hook-nosed stunt performer and performance artist. He's a bit of an eccentric, and his specific species is a bit of a debate. Yes, in a later movie they reveal him to be an alien, but that is never brought up again, so I'm not quite so sure about that. Besides, we're talking about the original series here. Ralph the dog, a pianist and musician for the show. Ralph first appeared in commercials for Purina Dog Chow. Scooter is a loyal stage manager for the show, as well as a gopher. No, not the animal, but a person who fetches things. Although, he probably could also pass as an actual gopher. Dr. Benson Honeydew and Beaker, who perform experiments and invention demonstrations on stage, all of which usually go wrong hilariously at Beaker's expense. Sam Eagle, I'm not sure what he actually does for the show, but he's American. Very, very American. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem is a band for the show, and I would presume plays numbers in between acts to placate the crowd. The band consists of Dr. Teeth, Janice, Lloyd Pepper, Zoot, and the drummer Animal, who by far became more famous than any of the rest of the band. Statler and Waldorf, the best characters of the series.
Do you think this show is educational? Yes, it'll drive people to read books.
They are a pair of elderly hecklers who constantly make fun of the show after every act with hilarious insults. When asked why did they come back every week if they hate the show, the two just shrugged and replied, "I guess we'll never know." Fun fact, they're named after two hotels in New York City, the Statler Hilton and the Waldorf Astoria. There are other characters like Rizzo the Rat, Pepe the King Prawn, Camilla the Chicken, and the Swedish Chef. But a full bio on them would get a little too tedious. All of the Muppet series are connected, and even the Muppet movies build on their lore, with a few exceptions, like Treasure Island and the Muppet Christmas Carol. The other Muppet programs are best saved for later. For now, I think it's time I give my final thoughts.
What does the fox say?
Between Sesame Street and The Muppet Show, Jim Henson built an empire that has stood on its own up until Henson's death in 1990. The franchise now belongs to Disney, but it's being well taken care of, and I still look forward to seeing new Muppet products to this day. I dare say the original Muppet Show still stands up after all this time. I could with good conscience recommend this show as a decent comedy. Check in next week as I review Hanna-Barbera's second animated series, The Huckleberry Hound Show. Until then, this was Josh the Fox Mills. Stay tuned.